Hey, what's up everyone? This is SnackBox. Hope you all had a great start to the week. The new Fusion is live. We also have the Fusion event calendar, so let's jump right into it. Before we start, I want to point out that the majority of my viewers is not subscribed to the channel, so please, if you enjoy the content, subscribe and leave a thumbs up. And now let's get back to the video. Alright, so as you can see, it is a traditional fusion, and traditional fusions are most of the time the most difficult ones to do. We need a total amount of 16 rares in order to complete the fusion. Before we go into the event calendar, I want to talk about Fabian's kit real quick, because I really think that this fusion is a must-do fusion. In my opinion, this champion is definitely on an Armand's level, and people should not underestimate his kit. He looks really, really strong and can be really game-changing for like newer or endgame players. It doesn't matter. I think this A3 is gonna be really, really strong. For Arena, this champion is 100% a Arena champion, and you should definitely not skip this one unless you don't care about Arena. There's already a lot of testing going on from other content creators, so go check them out. It's really interesting to see how he performs, and I think he will not disappoint us. But now let's take a look at the event calendar. Alright, so let's see. Today, on Monday, we have 3 events and tournaments starting, which is actually not that usual. Normally, you have a dungeon diver starting first, or a dungeon tournament starting first, and then the day after the other event or tournament starts. But this time, they actually have the same starting day, which is kind of nice. But then also, we only have one dungeon tournament during this dungeon divers event, or maybe we have a little bit of time here to farm ICEGOLEM for the dungeon divers, but I don't think it will be enough. So basically we have one dungeon divers here, we have another one here starting from Friday, and it's running simultaneously to the ICEGOLEM tournament, and then we also have another one starting on the Friday after next. So wow, okay, so we got 3 dungeon divers. One is ending here and the other one is ending here. But every time one dungeon divers ends, another dungeon tournament starts, so that's kind of weird. The problem with this is that you need more energy to complete dungeon divers events than, you know, dungeon tournaments. So for the dungeon tournaments, you would need around like 2.2k energy. And for the dungeon divers event, you need almost twice as much. Of course, it's depending on which stage you are running, but most of the times it costs like 5k energy, right? Because the milestones are most of the time pretty high. So yeah, this is kind of unfortunate. We have 3 dungeon divers events, so that means it's gonna cost a lot of energy. Now, it's obviously that, you know, traditional fusions are way harder to do. It's always been like that. And it definitely seems like they know that this fusion is very strong. And because of that, they probably made it harder to do. So another thing that I instantly noticed is that you can get an extra epic here from this summon rush. And most of the time, this epic sits at like 5,500 points or something like that. So that's going to be like 11 sacred shards. So me personally, I'm already considering to go for this extra epic and skip those dungeon divers events, because there's not really a chance to run 2 dungeons for 1 dungeon divers event, which would save a lot of energy, right? But this way they set it up here that you only have like 1 dungeon per dungeon divers event, 1 dungeon tournament, and then at the end, on the last day, there's like another dungeon tournament starting, but I don't know how much time there will be left to complete the dungeon divers event. Now for the spider tournament, it might work, but because there's a lot of fast teams for spider tournaments, it's very risky, right? Yeah, there's not a lot of room for running dungeons efficiently during dungeon divers events, right? So yeah, I guess this is a the biggest point here that I see from the first look. But if you're not going for this extra epic from the Summon Rush, you can definitely get some champ training points from farming Dragon solo, and also get some Dungeon Divers points, and then you would have to invest some extra energy in order to complete the Dungeon Divers event into maybe the Dragon or something else. Or maybe depending on how much time we got left on Thursday on the Dungeon Divers event, maybe you can run some Ice Golem to complete the Dungeon Divers event. So that's one champion training event here starting today. And then we have another one starting on Sunday. And it also starts on the same day that the Ice Golem tournament ends. So there's not really a lot of time, most likely, to farm Ice Golem solo and get some champ train points. But there's a spider tournament, and there are a lot of ways to solo the spider. You can definitely double dip here, get champ train points and spider tournament points. But there's also not really a Dungeon Divers event. Or basically, it's also ending on the same day that the spider tournament is starting. So yeah, that's really unfortunate. This makes this fusion way harder than it should be, right? And then the third Dungeon Divers event starts on Friday, March the 21st. And we also have a FIREKNIGHT tournament, so you can also double dip here, get points for the FIREKNIGHT tournament and get points for the Dungeon Divers event. But as I said, you have to invest a lot more energy to complete the Dungeon Divers event if the milestones are at the same spot that they used to be. We have a Summon Rush event on Friday, March the 14th. It's going to be this week, as always. We're going to start off with the Summon Rush, and next weekend there's going to be a Champ Chase tournament. So we got 2 summoning events. We got 3 Dungeon Divers. We got 2 Champ Train events, 1 Champ Train event, 1 Champ Train tournament. And then we also got 3 gear enhancement events and 2 classic arena takedowns. The classic arena takedowns are the most easiest ones. The gear enhancement events kind of feed off the dungeon tournaments, and if you have a lot of silver saved up, there is no problem. Anyway, it costs you around 15 to 20 million silver to complete one of those gear enhancement events. That should be pretty achievable, especially nowadays. You have a lot of more ways to get silver. So yeah, me personally, I'm definitely going for this extra epic from the Summon Rush event because it's going to allow me to skip a lot of these events. I can skip basically 4 events and tournaments in total if I get this Void Epic from the Summon Rush, and that will save me a lot of energy. Now the good part is that we actually got a lot of free energy in the last couple of days from the anniversary gift, and also if you install your game again on Aptoid, you will get a lot of goodies, and this will definitely help you to complete this fusion if you are short on energy. But also keep in mind, you will get around 1k energy a day just by doing your daily stuff and always keeping your energy below the cap. And that way you should be able to complete these events and tournaments just by using your daily energy. Maybe you have to use some gems here and there. But as I said, we also have a lot of free energy from gifts, and this will definitely help. We also got a couple of shards as well, right? And this will also help to complete the Summon Rush and Champ Chase tournaments. So if you're going for this extra epic from the Summon Rush event, I would highly suggest you to skip these Dungeon Divers events. This will save a lot of energy, and then maybe also one of the dungeon tournaments as well, right? In this case, most likely it's going to be the Ice Golem tournament, because there's not really a Champ Train tournament at the same time for the Ice Golem tournament. Actually, we have one right here. The first one that's starting today is actually ending on Friday, and the Ice Golem tournament starts on Thursday. But still, I gotta skip one of those events and tournaments, and either way, it's going to be one of the Champ Train tournaments and events, or one of the dungeon tournaments if I'm going for this extra epic from the Summon Rush. And I think the Ice Golem tournament is the best choice here. Either the Ice Golem tournament or the FIREKNIGHT tournament. One of those two. It also depends when the Sand Devil tournament is going to start, because maybe you saw it in my last video that it's really important to invest some energy into the Sand Devil because it really helps you to progress and to upgrade your artifacts. And I don't know when the Sand Devil tournament is going to start. Maybe there's something in the Plarium event calendar, but I haven't seen any, so maybe there's no Sand Devil tournament this week. Maybe it's next week. And if it's next week, then I'm most likely going to skip the FIREKNIGHT tournament instead of the ICEGOLEM tournament, so I can invest my free energy into the Sand Devil. But yeah, if you're not going for this extra epic from the Summon Rush, and you have to complete all the Dungeon Divers events, that's like 15k energy just for the Dungeon Divers, and you can't run all of the dungeon tournaments during Dungeon Divers, so most likely you're going to have to spend another 2.5k energy or something like that. So it's probably gonna be like 17.5k energy just for the Dungeon Divers events and dungeon tournaments. And I'm not even including the champion training events and tournaments where some people run campaign and get XP for the champions and level them up. So if you can't complete those training events and tournaments with brews, you have to do it with energy, and that will also cost more energy. So yeah, I think 20k is more realistic if we're talking about energy. And yeah, to be honest, very expensive fusion, but I totally think it's worth it if you can manage to go for it. I hope you saved up a lot of gems and energy refills in your inbox, and also shards, because yeah, this is definitely a must-do fusion for everyone, in my opinion. So yeah, I really hope there's enough time to run 2 dungeons for 1 Dungeon Divers event, but it doesn't seem like it, and I really think they did this on purpose, so it's it's costing you more energy. Also keep in mind that stage 20 will cost you less energy to complete those tournaments and events if you're trying to complete them. And if you're short on energy, this will definitely help you to save some, right? All right, let's actually take a look at the milestones. So we have the champion training event here, and the milestone sits at 6,500 points, which is not that bad actually. And also the rewards are actually pretty good, like 60 primal quartz, an immortal soulstone, void shard, and eternal soul coins are not that bad actually for a champ train event. Most of the times the rewards from tournaments are way better than from the event. Then we have the dragon tournament here, and the milestone, the rare champion, sits at 2,250 points as always. This is pretty standard, nothing extraordinary. All right, now let's take a look at the Dungeon Divers event. It just started a couple of seconds ago, and yeah, the milestone is at 3,700 points. As usual, you would need around 5k energy to complete this Dungeon Divers event to get to this point where you get the rare champion. So yeah, I really hope you are prepared for this fusion, because it's a really expensive one. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope this will help you. And with that being said, see you in the next one.